If you want to know how to wrangle those cats, this is how you manage a sales team. You can't use that. All right, hey, what's up everybody? My name is John Paramore. I'm gonna go through with you guys how to manage a sales team. Now, I know, I get it. You guys come to this video and you're like, dude, we know how to manage a sales team. I would be willing to challenge you on that. And here's the thing though, right? I wanna just kind of outline some things for you guys. And what I mean by how to manage a sales team is how to take all the guys from all the way your top performers all the way down to maybe your lowest level performers, how to keep those guys consistent, right? I have managed over 1,200 sales reps in my day. And what I know with certainty is that a lot of these guys go through what I would call a big ebb and flow, right? They have a killer month followed by a not so great month. They have a killer month followed by a not so great month. What I want to do is help you guys even that out. How do we do that though? How do we actually get into what I would label as maybe the mindset of these salespeople and kind of tweak and craft just a little bit to get these guys down a path where everything kind of flattens out and is more consistent so we can prevent that ebb and flow. And so you, as a business owner, can actually begin to do predictions, forecasting, things like that based on what you can see as a consistent flow of revenue generation from your sales guys. Now, here's what I want to tell you. Where most people mess this up is they don't put enough weight into the systems and processes that you need to help support, listen to the words, to help support your sales guys. How do I know this? Because sales guys by nature are not organized people. Kind of like what I started this video with, it feels like often that you're like herding a whole bunch of cats. But salespeople by nature, the reason why you're doing that is because they have a lot of energy, and then they ebb and flow kind of by feel, right? They have a lot of energy, some days they're kind of down. They have a lot of energy, some days they're down. But if you can actually build a sustained process that takes out their capacity and ability and unwillingness to do a lot of administrative paperwork, to do a lot of the, I guess, the kind of like minutia, the little tiny little detail things that they don't really do well anyway. And you have them focus on what they're really, really good at every single day, which is what? A sales guy's number one job is to sell. A lot of people take administrative work and put it on their sales guys and then find that they can't actually sell very well. If you'll take all that administrative work away from your sales guys and you'll actually just give them the autonomy to go sell, I promise you their revenue numbers are going to change dramatically. Now, how do you manage the ups and downs? Very, very simple. This is very, very simple. It's not easy, but it's very, very simple. You need to get these guys bought in to their own targets, to their own goals. They've got to be completely focused on what they want to create, not what you want them to create. Very, very big difference. And most of the time when I go in and I'm helping salespeople win and I'm talking to them about culture and I'm talking to them about feel, and you guys use the term motivation, but instead I'm talking about how to inspire them and getting them to rise up and getting them to win every single day. I get them bought in, not to what I want them to do. I get them bought into what they want to create. And when they have a big vision of what they're working to create, and I don't care if it's a house, if it's cars, if it's vacations, if it's this or that or the other thing, but when they're clear on the reason why they need to even that flow out, they need to focus on winning every single day and not just some days and not just other days when they have a big check and then they have no check and so on and so on. They got to be tied to the bigger vision of what they want to create. So one of the best things that you can do for your sales guys is to sit them down and figure out exactly what they want. Talk to your sales guys about what they want. And you'll find really quickly when you manage them to what they want, the managing process gets much, much easier. The process of managing them might feel hard right now because you're trying to manage them in accordance to what you want them to do. You're managing them in accordance to your expectations, but they're not going to respond that way. They're going to be, if you manage them or hold them accountable to their own desires, their own creation of what they want, they're going to drive much, much closer to that. They're going to push much, much harder to that because they're creating that for them and not for you. But I promise you, if you support them along the way, if you build a support structure, support systems along the way, and you help them to create what they want, by default, guess what? You are going to get what you want, 100%. If you help them to get clear on what they want, you manage them to what they want, you support them to what they want, you're going to end up by default getting exactly what you want. So I think one of the common mistakes that a lot of you guys are also making is you're trying to manage this group of people as a group of people. And what you need to do is manage them as individuals, not as a group, right? You've got to sit down, and I get it, right? Some of you guys might have big sales teams. You might have 20, 30, 40, 50 guys. I can promise you this one exercise and this one change inside of how you manage them is going to be a big, big difference. It's going to equal more revenue for you guys, which is what you all desire. So listen, you've got to manage them as individuals. You've got to sit each one of them down. You've got to ask them deeply, what do you want? What are you after? What do you want to create? How much money do you want to make? Why does it matter that you make that kind of money? What type of lifestyle are you trying to live? And that's what you've got to get clear about, right? That's where you've got to meet them and know that if I could just help this guy, if I could create a pathway to help them get connected to this specific thing, I know that they're going to keep putting in the work. And if they have a moment of weakness and they fall off a little bit and they stop doing the work, I can actually come back around and say, hey, do you remember when we talked about this specific thing that you're working to create? You said you really wanted it. You told me why you wanted it. You told me why it mattered. But now you're not doing the work at the level that you committed to doing in order to make that thing come to fruition. What can we do to support you? What can we do to help you win again or get back on track? Or where are you stumbling? Where is the energy breaking down? Where are things coming to a halt? And how can we help you make those things better? But as I go through this, let me caution you on one specific thing. Inside of just about every single sales team that I've ever coached or been brought in to consult with or have a conversation with, there's typically one or two guys that the owners have given so much autonomy to that they're not even operating by the culture anymore. And the reason why they've given that is because they feel held hostage by that specific rogue sales rep who feels like they can come in and do whatever they want, whenever they want, because they put up numbers. I want to tell you from my own experience and from several of our clients' experiences, that person right there is a culture killer. They will come in and lead the rest of the team astray just because the numbers that they're putting up on the board. As an example, I had a guy at one point in time would stroll into the office wearing flip-flops, basic gear, rarely ever wearing company outfit, attire, whatever, and felt like that he could do so because he was a mega producer. He was a huge producer inside of our organization. We let this go on for a little while. We had some conversations with him. We got him recentered to what he wanted to create. We got him back, what we felt like bought back into the team and the culture and all that stuff. And then he eventually spiraled back and started doing the same thing again. And eventually, what we decided was that the culture and the integrity of the culture mattered more than the numbers that this guy was putting up on the board. We had no idea the bigger impact that he was making into the rest of the sales guys until we cut him loose. And once we cut him loose, it was amazing how quickly everybody else inside the company kind of came to life. This guy wasn't influencing them negatively anymore. They kind of came up. The revenue numbers came up. Some guys kind of at the bottom that had felt intimidated by this guy, their numbers came up. The whole team and the culture eventually solidified, and everybody kind of zeroed back in. And then we learned a very important lesson. Just because we have somebody producing huge numbers, if they're not abiding by the culture and they're unwilling to be a bigger part of the team, their numbers don't really matter because they're infecting everybody else inside the organization. And one of the biggest lessons, and I know it's hard for some people, but once we actually cut them, we were astonished by how quickly everybody else, their numbers and their attitudes and everything changed instantly. It was like a breath of fresh air into the rest of the organization. And we ended up making a shitload more money. You guys know the drill. Like this video so you guys can see more content. We can get more stuff out to you guys on a regular and consistent basis. Also, put your comments below, put your questions below. I will answer those questions as you put them in there. And subscribe to this so you guys don't miss anything that we are constantly putting out. And finally, there's a pinned comment below where you guys can get something for free if you really want it. Hi, I'm John Paramore. If you don't like this content, go f yourself.